Good afternoon, friends. I'm bringing you this sample of a talk. I'm giving it in 2 weeks. And my talk in 2 weeks will be on fiber and microbiome. It will be one of the most comprehensive talk, 2 hour long, but this is just a sample. And this sample actually is in the preparation for the talk I'm giving this Friday with Lisa Carlin from Jane and Change. They have like million followers. So that talk will be on Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And the talk is what's new in the plant-based world. What's new in the plant-based world? So, so my answer to what's new in the plant-based world is to talk about fiber. Talk about fiber and how the fiber affects our microbiome. That's one of the hot topic, very, very important topic. Importance of fiber and importance of microbiome. So let's start with some quotes, which are very important quotes to set the stage. So again, the fiber is the most important but most ignored nutrient. Most important but most ignored nutrient. My theory is, this is my personal theory, my theory is that if Americans eat 70 grams of fiber per day, we will eliminate obesity, heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, most cancers, and many, many chronic disease. And we will all live up to 100. So we just need to eat about 70 grams of fiber. We will cover the ancient paleo people, how many grams of fiber they ate as we go in this talk. But again, 70 grams of fiber. We will see how many grams Americans eat in an average. Next quote is, we are what they eat. We are what they eat. They means our microbiome, the bacteria in the colon. Next is, do good to your microbiome and it does good to you. So again, if we make our habits which are good for our microbiome will do such a wonderful thing to us in terms of living long, living happy, and living healthy. Next is, fiber is on fiber. Fiber is on fire. Fiber truly is the most hot topic right now in medicine. Fiber is the way we're going to win this battle on chronic disease. Next is, you are not what you eat, but you and your microbiome eat. So again, it's just not important what we eat, but what we feed to our microbiome. Next quote is, live dirty, eat clean. Live dirty means exposing yourself to certain healthy, happy bacteria, like walking barefoot on a natural surface on a grass, or sometimes, having a pets and playing with different animals. So live dirty, but eat clean. Eat clean means eat whole food, plant-based, no oil diet. Again, live dirty, eat clean. Next is, eat a pack of dirt before you die. We all have experience, particularly myself. As we were growing up as a child, we played outside in the dirt, and I'm sure I had my fair share of dirt I ate, knowingly or unknowingly. And that's how I set up my microbiome. I'll tell you that microbiome actually set by age 3. By age 3, we already have our microbiome. That means what bacteria, what other things we carry in our body, particularly in our colon. The bacteria in the colon is pretty much set when we are age 3. And we will talk about it, why it's important, because parents are the one who are going to set the stage for their kids to have healthy microbiome. So it's very important that parents not only develop good habits for themselves, but for the young kids, infants up to age 3, to set a stage for them to have a healthy microbiome. We will cover that topic as we go. Next is, see you in the dirt. So we all need to get dirty once in a while. We all need to go out and play in the dirt. We all need to go out and walk barefoot on the grass. We all need to go out and touch the trees. We all need to go out to an organic farmers market and touch those organic vegetables. We all need to play with different pets, dogs, cows, even different animals, including horses. And that's how we're going to develop a healthy microbiome. Next quote, a very important quote. Do you have gut to be healthy? Actually, gut is the one which is most important organ when it comes down to living long, living healthy, living happy. Next is that if you spread a gut, actually the gut, if you spray the gut, it will be bigger than a basketball court. Bigger than a basketball court. There's a question here. Can you indicate can you indicate examples of good fiber food and what's in the microbiome? We are going with that lecture actually, so please stay tuned. Please stay tuned. Next quote is no guts, no glory. People who have healthy gut are the people who are glorious, people who are victorious. Next quote is, did the bacteria actually make humans for them to survive? There's even a joking theory that we humans are actually there to serve the bacteria in our gut. Matter of fact, there are more bacterial cells in our body than we have cells, human cells in our body. There are about 100 trillion total cells which are non-human in the body, and there are only about 39 or 40 trillion cells in the human body. So a lot more non-human cells in our body. Microbiome actually is a forgotten organ. A very important part, we have about 3 to 6 pounds, 3 to 6 pounds of microbiome. Most of it's in our colon, most of it's in our gut, microbiome and bacteria, and that's like a forgotten organ. It's almost 3 pounds is almost like a weight of the brain, and we don't even remember that we have this microbiome which behaves like an organ itself. So next is sometimes there's even a jokingly saying that what our gut microbiome, the bacteria in the colon, what they like to eat is what they actually push us to eat for their own benefit. And there are some theory that this gut bacteria actually leads to a certain type of craving, certain type of food desires. Next is a big quote from a Nobel Prize winner in 1920s actually, that death actually begins in colon. Next is Hippocrates from about 3,000 years ago, was as all disease starts in the gut. So we are definitely realizing more and more importance of gut, our colon, microbiome, bacteria in the colon, and what we eat and the fiber. Next quote is, which is again my personal quote, the bigger the bowel movement, longer you live. Bigger the bowel movement, longer you live. It's not the bigger the muscles you have, longer you live. Matter of fact, we know now people who have bigger muscles, like a lot of those bodybuilders, actually live less. So bigger the bowel movement, longer you live. So if you want to live long, care about your bowel movement, not about building muscles and chunk of muscles on your arm, on your legs, or on your back. Worry about how big of your bowel movement is, not how big of your muscles are. Obviously, we all need strong muscles, we all need toned body, but we need a bigger bowel movement. And its next is, again, a quote in a joking way, that it should take longer to pee than poop. This is a quote from Dr. Joe Kahn, that our bowel movement should be so soft and so medium consistency that it should just pass through our rectum and our sphincter so easily that actually it will be a faster bowel movement, even quicker than even having a urination or having pee. My next quote is again my own quote, that if you have one large bowel movement in the morning, every morning, 6 o'clock, whenever you wake up, after drinking a 2-3 glass of water, warm water. Next is a human is actually a supraorganism. We are not just, like I said, our human cells, but we have cells from all different organisms. So we are actually a supraorganism. Next is again an interesting quote, that eat a Big Mac every day. When we talk about Big Mac in America, we automatically assume it's the burger at McDonald's, but actually Big Mac, the Mac stands for microbiota accessible carbohydrate. Microbiota accessible carbohydrate. So whatever our microbiota, the bacteria in the colon, what carbohydrate they can digest, they can use for themselves, is the Big Mac. So if you eat one Big Mac, microbiota accessible carbohydrate, you will live long. Not the Big Mac at McDonald's. Next is the diverse and adequate microbiome is the solution to the healthcare crisis, both in terms of chronic disease and for the healthcare costs. If you have a diverse and adequate microbiome, healthcare costs will go down. Next is my own quote. Again, I like this quote. It's only the microbiome can save Medicare. Only the microbiome can save Medicare. Medicare is under crisis. Medicare cost has gone up. Our GDP, 20% is spent on healthcare, almost $3 to $3.5 trillion now. If you want to save the healthcare costs, if you want to save the Medicare, only microbiome can save the Medicare. Next is some of my best friends are germs. We always have taken for last 30, 40, 50 years the bacteria are bad for us. But matter of fact, we know now some of the bacteria are actually not only good for us, but they are extremely important, extremely necessary for us. There are certain bacteria in our colon, in our bowel, which actually do so many important functions for us to survive. So just remember, not all bacteria are bad for you. Most bacteria in our body actually are good for you. My next quote is that if you start eating about 70 grams of fiber every day, you will start losing weight so quickly that you will get to your ideal body weight very, very quickly. So start eating 70 grams of fiber if you want to lose the weight. And we will talk about it, how you can get 70 grams of fiber per day. So there was some lot of interest into fiber and microbiome. Science magazine published a major article with a front cover page that gut microbiomes and different type of cancers. Economist actually had a front cover page where it says microbes make the man. So microbes actually make the man. The next was the New York Times front cover about germs, how we can have a healthy microbiome. Science magazine had another big front page cover that how the microbiota have different type of hundreds of different functions to help our body to make us healthy and make us live long. There's also even some thought about how our chemistry between relationship between man and woman, between spouses, between friends, how our chemistry is affected actually by the microbiome. The way our mood, the way our likings, the way our social interactions work actually can be also influenced by microbiome. So definitely microbiome is a big growing science. We all should know about microbiome. I'm giving a 2-hour talk in about 2 or 3 weeks on microbiome with slides, and you'll be able to see all the slides as we go. So my own story, 4 years ago, I was probably eating 20 grams of fiber. I was about 50, 55, 60 pounds heavier. My diet changed. Now it's whole food plant-based. I lost about 55, 60 pounds. My fiber intake probably has gone to at least 50 grams, if not 70 grams per day. My pre-diabetes is gone. I feel great. I sleep better. So overall, there's a large contribution of increasing fiber intake in my diet and improving my microbiome. Fiber is not only important. Most people, when I talk about fiber, they think it's important for a bowel movement. That's actually not true. Fiber actually is important for bowel movements, but also very, very important for other functions. And when it comes down to other functions, it's the soluble fiber which is very important. There are millions of different types of fiber. Most important types are soluble and insoluble fiber. But we don't need to differentiate them. Just eat high fiber diet and that will take care of you. You don't have to say that I need more soluble or more insoluble fiber. Typically, we need about 35 grams of fiber per day. That's a very low estimate. In my opinion, we need about 50 grams of fiber per day, 50 grams. Most Americans get about 15, average American gets about 15 grams of fiber. And many Americans, including many of my patients, get only about 5 to 10 grams of fiber. Not only that's very, very dangerous, that's a reason a lot of Americans have a lot of chronic disease, a lot of obesity, a lot of pre-diabetes, a lot of diabetes. So again, Americans eat 5 to 10 grams of fiber in many, many Americans. And main reason for that is American diet, the standard American diet, the SAD diet is predominantly animal-based diet, animal-based product. And as we all know, which is sometimes surprise to some of my patients, that animal-based products contain no fiber. So red meat, no fiber, cheese, no fiber, dairy, no fiber, fish, no fiber, chicken, no fiber, pork, no fiber. Animal products have zero fiber. So if you want to increase fiber in your diet, have more plant-based food. And plant-based food should be whole food plant-based food, because a lot of the processed plant-based food, a lot of the fiber is removed. For example, brown rice versus white rice. White rice, a lot of the fiber has been removed. So brown rice is better. Black rice even maybe possibly even better than brown rice. So we definitely should have plant-based food which is less processed and has all the fibers maintained. So what are the benefits of fiber? Let's go through a list of benefits of fiber. It gives you satiety. It makes you feel full quicker because fiber contains a bulk. So that way you don't overeat. Fiber actually is proven to increase your longevity, makes you live long. Fiber causes less prediabetes, less diabetes. Fiber causes less heart disease, less colon cancer, less breast cancer, less obesity, less diverticulosis. That means a small pouch in the colon, less constipation. Actually, it helps to lower the blood pressure. It lowers the inflammation. As a matter of fact, lowers the estrogen by trapping the estrogen in the fiber and not getting reabsorbed. It lowers your cholesterol. So lots and lots of fiber, lots and lots of benefits of fiber. Matter of fact, there's an important study where plant-based diet was taken. People who ate plant-based diet, not only they had a lower mortality, but it was only good for the environment. And raw vegetables and cooked vegetables were number one in the list when it came down to lowering the mortality, chance of dying, and also helping the earth and the environment. So how can you increase fiber in your diet? Start with a one meal out of your 21 meals. So if you're eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, just have one meal, whole food plant-based. That can be oatmeal with berries or with a small amount of nuts or chia seeds in the morning. Just one meal out of 21. Every week, increase it by one meal. So in about 4 months, all your 21 meals will be whole food plant-based. If you cannot do that, have at least 17, 18 meals out of a week, whole food plant-based, and have animal products no more than about 10% of the calories from animal products. So if you're eating 21 meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner every week, try to make at least 16 to 18 meals, which are whole food plant-based, no oil meals, and have 3 to 4, maximum 5 meals, which have animal products. When it comes down to eating plant, variety is very important. Actually, it's been recommended that you should be eating 30 different type of plants per week. 30 different. Most Americans, including myself 4 years ago, I was eating same 4 or 5 different type of plants every week, which typically is lettuce and spinach. But now it's recommended that you should be eating a rainbow diet. That means eating as many more variety because different bacteria in our colon thrives on different plant-based food. So we need to eat about 30 variety of plant-based food. That means different varieties of vegetables, different varieties of fruits, different varieties of intact whole grains, different varieties of seeds, different varieties of nuts. So we need to eat all different type of plant-based food to have a healthy microbiome. Definitely we should have beans also. So have fully cooked beans. Cooking beans is very important. So make sure they are fully cooked. And this way you will gradually increase fiber in your diet. And like I said, brown rice is better than white rice. So look for all the different ways of making your food whole food plant-based and less processed or no processed food. So my diet now is 99% vegan. I have rarely dairy-based product. I'm mostly whole food plant-based. I'm never constipated now. I have one big bowel movement every morning. My fiber, like I said earlier, is probably about 50 grams of fiber per day, which used to be about 30. I always had a high fiber because I was always a vegetarian, but I had some processed plant-based food. Now my processed plant-based food has significantly gone down. So now I have probably about 50 grams of fiber. My goal is to increase my fiber by 70 grams per day. And like I said, 70 grams of fiber is the way you can live long, you can live healthy. If you look at the ancient paleo diet, which was 15, 20,000 years ago, before the cultivation of grain 10,000 years ago. So we are talking about 15, 20,000 years ago. Those ancient paleo people actually more were gatherers than hunters. They ate more vegetables, more fruits, more seeds, more nuts than they ate animal products. Their animal product was many times no more than once or twice a week when they had a good hunt. Most of the time, they ate what they gathered from the ground, from the plant-based food. So don't let any paleo proponent tell you that you need to eat more animal-based product. Ancient paleo ate 100 grams of fiber per day. That means they ate pounds and pounds and pounds of vegetables and fruits every day. And their animal product was no more than once a week, sometimes even once a month or twice a month. So if you want to follow paleo, follow the ancient paleo from 20,000 years ago when they ate lots of vegetables and fruits. Uh, so I think if I ask question right now, people who are going to watch this live, about 15, 20 people are watching it right now. Please tell me, what is your guess? How many grams of fiber you get in a day in your diet? My guess is that if you are a typical American, you're getting about 15 to 20 grams, and some of you are actually getting 5 to 10 grams. That's not acceptable. I'm giving a talk to a vegan group this Friday. They are vegan. Hopefully, most of them are whole food plant based. My guess is in that group that many of them are getting about 30, 35 grams of fiber. There's a whole 2 hour long video on YouTube which is called Dietary Fiber. It's by the University of California TV. Very good video on fiber. I highly recommend all of you to watch the video on fiber. So let's talk about microbiome. We covered a lot of things on fiber. Let's talk about 2 more minutes about microbiome. So again, we have about 100 trillion non-human cells in our body. 3 to 6 pounds of non-human cells in our body, and they are mostly into colon and intestine, but they're also on skin, in different orifices like vagina, mouth, nose, even GU tract like bladder. So we definitely have bacteria and other microbes all over the body. So somebody just asked a question that how can you get 70 grams of fiber? So that means you have to eat lots of whole food, plant-based food. And like to give you an example, if you have a 1 pound of raw vegetables, 1 pound of cooked vegetables, 2 cups of beans, small seeds, small nuts, you will get 50 gram of fiber. You will get 50 gram of fiber, if not 70 gram. Higher the vegetables and fruits. To give you an example, for example, if you take beets, cooked beets, and if you just take one cup of cooked beets, it will give you 3 to 4 gram of fiber, just 1 cup. If you take winter squash, cooked winter squash, it will give you 6.2 gram of fiber just from 1 cup. If you take cooked kale, and if you take a 1 cup, 1 to 2 cup, it will give you 7 grams of fiber. So it's easy to add up. If you eat whole food plant-based with raw vegetables, cooked vegetables, if you eat each of them 1 pound per day, you will get about 50 to 70 grams of fiber per day. So again, going back to microbiome, nutrition education is not very commonly taught even today in medical school. In my medical school, I had probably 5 hours of education on nutrition. It was mostly biochemistry, learning about macronutrient. We did not lead about different food types or anything. Most doctors don't have good nutrition education. So if you want to learn about nutrition, you have to learn yourself. That means watching a lot of YouTube videos, reading a lot of books, and also learning whatever I'm going to show you, I'm going to teach you, periodically, hopefully, 2-3 times a week about how to have a best whole food plant-based diet. Most doctors, when you see them, have only about 10 or 15 minutes to see you, and they may not be able to explain you everything about nutrition in that 10 or 15 minutes because they are dealing with a lot of chronic disease. So I think it becomes your own responsibility to learn about nutrition, learn about whole food, plant-based, no oil diet. I'm going to teach you everything. I read every day. I read probably 2 hours every day on bringing a lot of different topics on healthy lifestyle. And one of my important topic actually is how to eat whole food, plant-based diet. So if somebody asks a question, can you recommend a book, a general book about nutrition? The number one book I will get right now is called Eat to Live by Dr. Joe Fuhrman. It's only about $10 on Amazon. Get a used copy. If you want to learn a lot about fiber and microbiome, there's a new book out called Fiber Fuel. Slightly expensive book, about $20, $22, but it's one of the best books to learn about fiber and microbiome. But if you want to just start with one book right now to be healthy, it's called Eat to Live by Dr. Joe Fuhrman. Get that book today, only $10 on Amazon. I bought that copy in hundreds of copies and I sold it to my patient cost to cost. I highly recommend all our listeners, all our viewers, all our followers, all my friends, all my family to get that one book, Eat to Live, $10 on Amazon by Dr. Joe Fuhrman. So again, if you have healthy microbiome, not only you can prevent a lot of disease, but actually you can reverse a lot of the chronic disease. There are thousands of studies, there are 100,000 studies on fiber and microbiome. You don't have to go through all of them. I've gone through some of them. I read about 15 books on fiber and microbiome. I will summarize everything when I give the 2-hour lecture in 2-3 weeks. And that lecture will have detailed slides with us only 2 or 3 lines on each slide. So you can follow along on each slide. You can read the slides. You can comprehend more. The next question is psyllium husk a good option occasionally? Yes, psyllium is a good fiber. Psyllium is another soluble, insoluble combination of fiber. It's definitely good to have a regular bowel movement. It actually also can lower your LDL, lower the bad cholesterol. It also can be good to produce small chain fatty acid, which will cover what it means as we go in this talk. So again, psyllium is a good option. But I don't want people to rely on psyllium. I want people to rely on whole food, plant-based diet. And that's the best way to have higher fiber, not by taking fiber supplements. So there was a question was, when is going to be my lecture? My lecture on microbiome probably will be in 2 weeks. It will be announced on our Facebook page. And I will definitely have that video on YouTube. So that way, you can watch it again and again. You can watch it anytime. If you missed the Facebook Live, you can definitely watch it on YouTube. There's actually proof now that if you eat 10 grams of fiber extra every day, 10 grams of fiber extra every day, you have a 10% less chance of dying. So if you eat 10 grams of fiber every day, you have a 10% less chance of dying. So imagine if you're eating 10 grams of fiber right now per day, and if you make it to 40 grams of fiber or 50 grams of fiber, you will have 50%, 40% less chance of dying over the next 10, 15 years. So definitely fiber, the most important nutrient. I cannot stress important enough about fiber. Fiber, fiber, fiber. Fiber is the most important thing. In my opinion, the way when we see patients, we take vital signs like blood pressure, pulse, the respiratory rate, we check the oxygen saturation. In my opinion, we should make bowel movement as one of the vital signs. We should be asking every patient, how is your bowel movement? Bowel movement is as important as pulse. Bowel movement is as important as blood pressure. So again, remember, bowel movement is as important as any other vital sign of the body. So that brings a kind of a conclusion to this talk. I hope you enjoyed it. This will be expanded in 2 weeks. I will be giving maybe 2 to 3 hour long talk with slides. So please stay tuned. I hope you enjoyed it. We are growing. We are about 95,000 followers on our Facebook. I think we will be 100,000 probably by tomorrow. So please like our page, invite your friends and family, reach out to our YouTube channel, and enjoy your afternoon. Thank you.